Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Shoot the Hoot RAW. I'm Chuck from CyberHoot, co-founder, chief go-getter, and your guide through the good, bad, and sometimes the downright weird side of cybersecurity. Here's the thing. Cybersecurity is changing super fast. The tools are getting smarter. The attackers are getting more creative. But at the end of the day, security still comes down to one main thing. People making good decisions. That's exactly what we're talking about today. Because here's a question. Is security awareness training just another checkbox? Is it another email that employees ignore? Is it another course everyone finishes so we can say, yep, we're compliant? Or is it actually something that changes behavior? Because completed training course looks good on paper, on a report. It looks incredible. But a person who pauses before clicking, oh, I love that pause. I want someone who questions an unusual request or reports something suspicious. That, my friends, is what actually stops attacks. So today's episode is all about when SAT is a bolt-on versus the main event. We're going to talk about why completion does not equal protection, why included training is not automatically bad, and what separates a program that simply delivers content from one that actually builds a security culture. So here's today's flight plan. We're taking a look at a question that comes up a lot in cybersecurity. Is the security awareness training something you simply check off the list? Or is it something that actually changes how people make decisions? Because there is a huge difference. Completed training course, oh, that's nice. It's very nice, right? But a person who pauses for clicking a suspicious link, that is what we're after. So here's where we're headed with it, right? Our 5-minute rant, when the SAT is a bolt-on versus a main event, we're talking about what happens when security awareness becomes just another checkbox, or even scarier, just another add-on for free from your vendor. Ouch, right? Next, the CyberHoot nerd update. Smarter, smoother, stronger, right? Because while we love talking about cybersecurity strategy, hey, we also like building things. I love building things. We'll walk you through some of our latest improvements inside of Autopilot. Better experiences, more automation, cleaner workflows, and a few behind-the-scenes fixes that make everything run just a little bit more smoother and nicer. The exciting stuff and the stuff that nobody sees until it actually breaks. And trust me, the second category you won't work into, right? Then we'll open our mic for the Q&A. Does included SAT actually work? This one is going to be fun because there's a lot of debate around it. A lot of debate. Is bundled training automatically bad? Well, no. Is buying a platform automatically the answer? Well, also no. The real question is, are you building habits or just delivering content? And finally, our hoot-worthy horror story. Metadata, what? That's right. This one's a reminder that policies are an approval process. In an approval process, it's important, right? But they are not magic, because attackers don't always break the rules. Sometimes they convince people to follow the wrong ones, right? So buckle up. We've got opinions. We've got updates. We've got a little cybersecurity humor. And as always, this is Shoot the Hoot RAW, right? We are unscripted. We are unfiltered and are unapologetically cyberhoot. So let's start with a number that looks fantastic on our report. 100% completion. Oh, yay. Oh, where's my sound bit? I want to play the, oh, where's my cheering people? Oh, I can't find them. Can't find them. Oh, that's weird. I don't know where my music went for that. Man, just imagine fans are cheering, right? Completion. Every employee finished the training. Every box is checked. The auditor is happy. The insurance questionnaire looks beautiful. Management gives itself a high five. Boom, right? Yeah, right. But here's the uncomfortable question. Did anyone actually change what they do? Because 100% completion rate can still produce a 0% change in behavior. Completion tells us that someone opened the training. They clicked through it. They eventually reached the finish line. Yay. Does not automatically tell us if they understood it, right? Does not prove they recognize a suspicious request 3 weeks later. It definitely does not prove they will stop, verify, and report it when they are busy. So, oh, man, annual training, are we even talking about annual training still? I guess people are still doing it. Listen, annual training makes this problem worse. We ask employees to sit through cybersecurity training once a year, and then expect them to remember the lesson during a stressful Friday afternoon payment. We pressed like 9 months later. Are you serious? That's like, oh no, that's like going to the gym once in January and expecting your abs to remain ripped through December. It's not going to happen, folks. Now, compliance still matters. 100%. It definitely still matters. Organizations, they have requirements. Insurers want evidence. Auditors want records. Customers want reassurance. We should absolutely track completion. But completion, my friends, is the starting line. Starting line. It's not the finish line. The stronger questions are people reporting suspicious emails? Are repeat mistakes going down? Are employees verifying unusual requests? Do they feel comfortable asking for help? And are those habits improving or getting worse over time? That's the difference between compliance and culture. Compliance asks, did they complete it? Check. Culture asks, did it change what they actually do? So here's this slide's flyaways. Completion proves that a training was actually opened, maybe even seen to finish line, right? But behavior shows whether the lesson actually stuck. So here's our Hoot rule take from this slide. Measure what people do, not necessarily only what they complete, all right? So the certificate may satisfy an auditor, but the decision is what stops an attack, and that's the real goal, right? All right, let's talk about what happens when security awareness training becomes just another feature in the bundle. Okay, maybe it came included. Maybe it was marketed as free. Maybe no one specifically selected it. It simply arrived with everything else. Now, listen, it does not automatically make it bad. Bundled SAT, bundled SAT stuff can absolutely work, but here's the risk. When training is treated like an extra, employees will also treat it like an interruption. They get the assignment, they click the link, they watch the video, they answer the questions. Then nobody mentions cybersecurity again until next year. That is not really a program. That's a recurring calendar reminder, right? So there's another question buyers should ask too. You should be when you go look for your vendor, you should say, is security awareness a core competency for the vendor, or is simply one more item on the feature list? Because when SAT is one product among dozens, it may not receive that same focus, that same innovation, that measurement, or the support. And, as a platform built specifically around changing human behavior. Excuse me. This does not mean bundles, SAT is ineffective. I'm not saying that. It means buyers should look beyond the check mark, though. How often is that content updated from that vendor? Does a platform measure anything beyond completion? Does it encourage reporting? Does it support positive reinforcement? Does it help MSPs and managers actually build habits? Those questions matter a lot more than whether the training was bundled or purchased separately. And the same is true inside the organization. If leadership never talks about the program, if managers never reinforce it, and if employees only hear about security when an assignment is overdue, then the program becomes background noise, right? Somewhere between the parking, the parking policy update and the reminder that, please don't microwave fish in the break room, right? This is why lowest management option is not always the lowest risk option. Automation should reduce administrative work, absolutely, but it should not remove intentional leadership or vendor focus from the equation. So the issue is not simply was SAT included. No. Better question is anyone truly focused on making it effective leadership, making it effective? Who's focusing on that? Leadership focused on it? Where's the vendor focused on it? They both should be, right? Because bundled training can become the main event if the vendor builds around human outcomes and the organization treats it like a priority. And even an expensive platform can become background noise if nobody prioritizes it. So this slide's flyaways. Listen, employees notice what leadership prioritizes. And buyers should 100% definitely evaluate whether their SAT platform is a core competency of that platform, or is it simply another feature added on because you need the email gateway. Who knows, right? So the Hoot rule to take away: clear training still requires intentional leadership and a vendor focused on human outcomes. So what does it look like when the human element really is the main event? Let's talk about it. So, what does it look like when that human element is not just another feature, right? But it's actually the main part of the platform, right? It's the main event. It starts with a different goal. The best awareness programs do not simply offer content. No, they create confident decisions. That means training people to pause, recognize something that feels wrong, and then verify the request and report it without hesitation. And this is where focus matters. When awareness is a core competency, the program is built around behavior, not just assignments, not just completion, not just proving that something was sent. The goal becomes, helping employees make better decisions in the moments that matter. That usually starts with short, continuous reinforcement, small lessons, simple reminders, quick coaching moments. Because one annual training session is it's easy to forget, but a steady rhythm keeps security kind of familiar, right? And familiar habits are easy to use under pressure. I did keep that the monthly trainings in place so it keeps cybersecurity on the forefront of their minds. So even when a message that turns out to be harmless comes across, why? Because you are reinforcing behavior you want repeated. You are teaching employees that reporting is not overreacting, right? The piece that, this reporting piece cannot go without being addressed, right? When employees report those suspicious emails, celebrate it, right? Even if that message, even if that message turns out to be harmless, celebrate it. Why you want to celebrate? Because you're reinforcing it. This is what you want people doing. You want them reporting things. You teach your employees that reporting is not the overreacting part. It's participating in the defense of the actual company. And when someone clicks, coach them. Don't embarrass them. Don't turn the simulation into a public gotcha, because shame does not create stronger reporting. It creates silence. People who are afraid of being judged are less likely to be raised. They're less likely to raise their hand when the real attack arrives. So I'll tell you a story about when I was in, I would say, my freshman year of high school. This one girl, I'll call her Jamie, just to protect against her name. We were in algebra class, and our teacher, she was tough. She was tough. And we would go around the room answering questions. We were working on like positive and negative numbers. So it came to Jamie, and they said, and the teacher was like, Jamie, number 4. And Jamie said, +1. And then she's like, no, Jamie, -1. And then it came around to Jamie again, right? Jamie, number 20, -4? No, +4, Jamie. Oh, man. Comes around again. Last time around, number 32. Jamie, number 32. Jamie, number 32. She's getting nervous, bless her heart. Jamie, number 32. -0. Bless her heart. Listen, she was a good sport. We called her -0 for the rest of our high school career, and she just adapted it and laughed with us, right? But the main thing to take away from here is don't shame. Don't make people feel afraid to raise their hand and to ask the question or point something out. So another thing to remember is that their leadership also has to participate. So employees will notice when leaders are actually completing their training or not, especially with our leaderboards. They notice when managers talk about suspicious requests. They notice when security comes up during regular meetings. That sends a clear message. This is not an IT problem. This is how we work here, right? And measurement has to go beyond completion. Are suspicious email reports increasing? Are repeat mistakes decreasing? Are employees verifying unusual requests? Are they responding faster? Those are signs that a program is changing behavior. The strongest word programs make security part of the normal workplace conversation. Not scary, not technical, not once a year, just normal. Especially in voice gets discussed. A great report gets recognized, and new stand becomes a quick coaching moment. This is how culture forms. One small decision at a time. Man, this stuff gets behind when you do it right. All right. So the flyaways, small, consistent lessons build stronger habits. And positive reinforcement. We preach it at CyberHoot. It keeps employees engaged and reporting. And the Hoot rule to remember: train for the decision, not for the completion certificate. Because the real measure of awareness is not whether someone finished the lesson, it's what they do when the suspicious message arrives. Now, got a little hype there. Just scroll down a minute. Let's back up a little bit. Let's now talk about our nerd update for the week. Okay. Lots of new stuff. I'll tell you, we're elevated. We're constantly working and flowing. Every Tuesday, new stuff going to production. Man, it's inspiring. Right? Let's go. This week's release is packed with kinds of updates that don't always get a stand ovation, but they actually make the platform better. So first up, we added configurable acceptance windows for video and Hootfish auto assignments. So that was a lot to say, I guess, right? That means admins now have more control over due dates and fewer moments when everyone gets the same deadline, whether it makes sense or not. Because nothing says great user experience like a deadline chosen by a robot with no calendar, right? Next, our Hootfish challenge now includes a guided tutorial before the first graded training. So this is a big improvement, right? So in the platform, we have a video there. I bet you that video has rarely ever been watched. People don't do it. But now the guided tour. We're not throwing users into the deep end anymore and yelling, hey, good luck with the phishing assignment. Good luck, right? We're not doing that. We show them how it works first, then let them prove what they learned. That makes the experience clear, fair, and a lot less confusing. We also sharpened up our partner logos across branded marketing materials and infographics. So, Then what do you do, Chuck? You sharpen up some logos. It sounds small, I know. So your logo looks like it was fast, back in 1997, right? Not good. Now it's cleaner, it's sharper, and much more presentable, right? And it's presentation ready. Let's go. On the admin side, the missing add tenant button is back, which it's helpful, right? Just adding the tenant, without an admin tenant button, it's starting to feel like an escape room challenge, right? And who wants to deal with that? We also added a domain column to the phishing administration table. We improved our administrator syncing during reseller setup and cleaned up several table and layout issues. That means less hunting, less clicking, and fewer, what domain is this fish stuff from again? Moments. So, man, we're still going. Man, we do a lot of work each week, don't we? Let's go our Hoot Owls. All right. Attack fish attachments are now clickable and take users directly to the phishing landing page. So before we click on an attachment in one of our phishing, nothing happened. Now it shows the user real time. It takes them to the phishing landing page, and it helps them realize that, hey, this was a phishing test, and this gives users, just one more opportunity to practice recognizing the suspicious stuff and seeing the behavior before the actual real thing shows up in their inbox. We also added language syncing from Microsoft Entra ID and Google when users are created. So the platform can meet users where they actually are instead of assuming everyone wants the exact same experience. Behind the scenes, man, we're still going. Behind the scenes, we added weekly temporary file cleanup and fixed conflicts that could happen when multiple PDF reports were generated at the same time. So listen, this is not flashy, but neither is the kitchen sink backing up, right? We still need it fixed, right? So the HO escalation step is also behaving better. Validation now happens when the user clicks next, and the fields remain in place when someone goes back to review everything. And those PDFs I was talking about earlier now use a cleaner naming format: site, tenant, and date, which means fewer mystery files called something like report-final-final-2-really-final.pdf, right? So yes, this week brought a lot of smaller updates, but small updates create smoother workflows. Smoother workflows create happy partners, and happier partners spend less time fighting the platform and more time helping their clients stay secure. You see, we don't just ship features. Nope. We remove friction. We sharpen the experience and make autopilot easier to love. Now that we've covered what's new in autopilot this week, let's tackle the question hanging over this whole episode. Does included SAT work, actually work, or does it just look good on the invoice? But first, where's my first? Let's do it. You guys know what's coming. Boom, right? Be the first to email mainevent10 to shootthehoot@cyber.com and get 10% off your next invoice. Type it in, click send, and get that 10. And if you're not watching live, no worries. Email us anyway. I may just give you the 10% off. I'm a nice guy like that. The only catch is you're limited to this discount only once per month. All right, let's hop into our Q&A. All right. If you have any questions, throw them into the chat. Otherwise, I always come prepared, right? So is bundle SAT automatically less effective? No, not necessarily less effective, right? Bundle SAT, SAT, I call them both. Bundle SAT can work very well when the content is current, assignments are consistent, leaders reinforce the message, and organizations measure real behavior. The risk begins when included becomes another word for ignored, right? Free is not the problem, forgottenness. But two key things to remember here. Keep in mind the amount of effort on your part to maintain the training, right? How much do you have to work to keep that training going? And then also you want to question if the SAT is a core competency of the vendor, or they're just adding in for free because she bought something they actually focus on. It's nothing like, buy our amazing expensive product now and we'll throw in this head on because it's not really very valuable. Be careful there, right? Question 2, does a company need a dedicated awareness platform? Hey, listen, not every company does. Some can make out okay with, on a bundled security awareness training. Small organizations with strong leadership, consistent reinforcement, and useful measurement may succeed with included training. May put a little bit more elbow grease into it. You can succeed with included training, but a dedicated platform becomes more valuable when the organization needs deeper automation, stronger reporting, customized programs, positive reinforcement, phishing practice, or better visibility across multiple clients. And CyberHoot does that. Right? The real question is not, is it bundled or dedicated? It is, does it give us what we need to change behavior? We're not taking an army to keep it going. Think about that. Well, I'm going to put my questions on. I'm going right through this flying. I didn't even put my questions on. That was the last question. Do you need a dedicated awareness platform? Let's go to the third one here. Boom. Third question. Which measurements show whether training is working? So Completion still matters, but it's only one signal, right? So look at suspicious email reporting, look at repeat mistakes, verification habits, response speed, engagement over time, whether employees feel comfortable speaking up. Those measurements reveal whether their trainers are creating confident decisions and good culture or simply creating certificates they can download. So does included SAT work? Yes, when it's treated like a real program, right? Priority matters, consistency matters, measurement matters, culture matters. The platform delivers the lesson, but the organization delivers whether that lesson becomes an actual habit. So a good rule to take away from this is judge SAT by the behavior it creates and the attention it gets by your employees and your vendor, not by how it was packaged, right? So now, let's see what happens. Any other questions? Oh, we are good to go. Now, let's see what happens when a company has policies, approvals, and all the right boxes checked, but nobody starts to verify the person behind the request. It's time for this week's Who Were the Horror Story. Metadata, what? Oh, man. So in 2014, 12 years ago already, an employee in Metadata Solutions Accounts Payable Department received an email that appeared to come from the company president. Look, it looked legitimate. The president's name was there. His email address appeared correctly. Even his picture in there. He was smile. His picture is in the message, right? This email explained that Metadata was working on a confidential acquisition that an outside attorney would be calling with payment instructions, right? Confidential, urgent, coming from the top. Basically, this is the business email compromise greatest hits album happening right here. Soon afterward, the employee received a call from someone pretending to be the attorney. The call requested a multi-million-dollar wire transfer. But Metadata, hey, they had controls in place. This employee, let's go. The employee explained that the payment required an email from the company president and approval from 2 additional executives. That sounds reassuring. I'm feeling better about this already. Except the criminals already controlled the conversation. They produced the president's spoofed email. And the 2 additional officers, they reviewed the request and approved it. Man, the company then wired approximately $4.8 million to the fraudulent overseas account. The process had multiple people. The process required approvals. Paperwork appeared complete. But nobody, and I mean nobody, stepped outside the attacker-controlled communication, contacted the real president through a trusted channel. So nobody asked, did you actually authorize this? That's what makes this story so important. The employees were not reckless. They were trying to follow and relying on a process that was in place. But the process verified the paperwork, not the person behind it. So a 30-second call using a known number could have broken the entire illusion. That's 30 seconds for $4.8 million. The FBI recommends independently confirming suspicious financial requests using contact information you obtained yourself, not a telephone number, but the links supplied in the actual message. So the key lesson, having policies and approvals don't automatically create the habit of stopping and verifying. So before money moves, pause, step outside that message, contact the real person through a trusted channel. Because 3 approvals inside a fake conversation are still 3 fake approvals. Let's wrap this episode up. I'm tired. All right. So today's big takeaway. Security awareness is not about checking the box. You can have 100% completion, a beautiful report, and every employee marked trained. But the real question is, did anything change when suspicious emails showed up? We talked about how including SAT is not automatically bad. It relies on 2 things. Count them 2. Is the vendor providing something valuable or just a freebie because you bought something more expensive? And does the actual program you created have focus? Is it creating habits? Is leadership reinforcement? Are employees confident enough to pause, verify, and report? Because a forgotten program is forgotten, whether it came bundled or was purchased separately. So here's today's final hoot rule to take away. Don't measure awareness by what people complete. Measure it by the decisions they make when it matters. So thanks for joining us for another episode of Shoot the Hoot RAW. Until next time, I want you to laugh, I want you to learn, and I want you to hoot up. Let's go. Hoot up.